Hey everyone, my name is Thel, and today I'm going to be breaking down my own footage of RMP gameplay in order to help others understand what should and should not be happening in this kind of style of gameplay. Uh, it's going to be around Frost Sub RMP, and I want to point out that I am not Glad or Rank 1. I'm just a mid to high duelist player, so keep that in mind. Not everything I'm doing is perfect. My analysis might not be perfect, but I'm hoping to help people that are maybe around my rating and obviously people under my rating hopefully climb up and get some tips into just an idea of what's going through my mind when I play this stuff. So now that I've gone over that stuff, let's get right into it.
Go healer. Go to sap D.
So first thing I do here is I sap the DK, and this is to cover for when we go on the healer, because we're going to start on the healer because the Destro has the Earth Shield on himself, and you don't really want to go on the guy with Earth Shield. That's kind of the main core aspect of RMP gameplay versus Arsham teams. You want to be going on the guy typically. Sometimes you don't, but a lot of the time you want to be going on the guy that does not have Earth Shield, depending on cooldowns, especially at the very beginning of the game. Excuse me, I have a cough. So, the beginning of the game, we always look and see which guy has the Earth Shield, whether it be the Destro or the Arsham. Those are our main targets. Sometimes we'll kill DK, but that's more so late game. We don't really open on him. That's just like he's used his cooldowns carelessly, or just defensively, or maybe defensively, like we forced a lot of pressure. He had to trinket do this, maybe IBF because he didn't have a trinket to put down an AMZ for his healer, so his healer didn't die, and we swap him. But Frost DK really isn't a main kill target. He's more so a kill target that just kind of like appears mid-game. So anyway, sap DK for cover, so he cannot peel, or he's forced to trinket, but in this case he is relentless, as we can see over here. He's relentless, sap him for cover.
Okay.
Gotta go in.
Gotta stun the lock. You ready? You ready?
And right there, I send the lock, and then I mark for death, kidney the healer. I don't cheap the healer, I mark for death, kidney the healer. That's going to give us the most time for setup. Pop my Shadow Blades, my Cold Blood, and my Gormaw in a second to do maximum damage possible, along with my Symbols of Death. I want you guys to notice right here, the first thing I do, honestly, I shouldn't have popped Cold Blood right here. I should have waited for half a second. I should have Shadow Striked like I do right here. And then I immediately get my Nightblade up. And then I should have gone in for my Cold Blood. But I did a little early. Not a huge mistake, but, you know, getting higher and higher and higher in gameplay, you know, that little DPS could be a big factor. Anyway, so I get my Nightblade up. That's a big deal, because plus 15% damage right there off just the Nightblade dot. Gonna go in. We're gonna do our setup. Our mage is gonna orb. He's gonna blink in. He has cover from the DK and the lock. The DK is being MC'd by our healer right now. Very good off of him to keep the DK locked down. Doing our burst here. I trinket, and I'm not sure if this was a good decision on my part. I trinket the coil from the lock. He coiled me and my and my mage. The mage was dispelled. I was not, because number one, I'm blind. Number two, I'm not sure if my healer was running double dispel or not. Probably was, but I was blind, so I had to trinket. Now, I'm not quite sure what was running through the Arsham's head. My trinket could have just forced his trinket, because he saw me trinket and go for the kill. And we belfed over his. Excuse me again. But yeah, we trinket. I trinket, go for the kill. Possibly force his trinket. Possibly he was going to trinket anyway, and I could have saved my trinket. Not quite sure there, but we're going to go with the obvious choice and say it was bad on me. It was bad on me. I should not have trinketed there. Got to keep rolling with the game.
Trinketed. I used my trinket there, by the way. Hitting a lock at the moment. Yeah, just go back. Just go back.
I'm over here. Do you see where I am?
Yeah, I'm peeling back. Cat's bolt.
Cast on me.
So, right here, we're trying to peel back from these guys because RMP is not supposed to be in there and brawl. We'd get wrought down really, really fast if we did that. It's a big no-no to do that 90% of the time. For some cases, maybe you want to do it. For some reason, everyone's low. I don't know. That'd be really, really situational. Don't know why that happened, but In this case, we're going to peel back like normal and try and get away. Just force them in a bad position. That's the main thing that this is. It's to keep us safe and force them in a bad position to make it easier to set up. So I want to point out here, they're all coming off of stuns and DRs right here, except for the root. The only one that has the trinket, which is Shaman, has used that. I still have blind, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about. I also have Vanish to sap off the blind if I need it. I think I used my Vanish to get a reset right here. So I can help set up my mage. I also have both my defensive cooldowns, so I'm thinking about that and going, okay, I can be offensive here and not be too scared. Although right now, at this moment, I am scared about my mage's block, and in a second, my healer almost gets one shot. So that normally doesn't happen, but that was scary, and I think my mage peels for him, and I'll tell you what I do in a second when we come up to it.
No. Yeah, I saw the shield go up.
Alright, we can go.
Okay, help me, Lance. Oh my god, Lance. Oh my god, Lance. I'm trying to shoot DK. I got interrupted.
Falcone.
So what I do here is I kidney the healer. He's got Earth Shield on himself. And then I cheap the lock. And then I cheap the DK after that. And that is not only a setup on our part, but it's also counter pressure, which are both very good because my healer's in the middle of the map right now. I believe he's right around here, and he's at 20% HP. It's very bad if we don't want to let him free cast. We want to do as much as we can. The DK is at the end of his burst, but he still got burst up. He's still very dangerous. And my mage is at good HP. He doesn't have orb, as we can see right here, but got to make do with what we have. Believe we have an Eben. Not sure if we make use of it. We'll see in about half a second. But that's what I'm doing in this situation. We're just making some counter pressure right here, so my priest can make it out alive and possibly us force more cooldowns. So I'm going to let it roll again.
Healer?
Okay, shoot me, healer. Got the other guy.
So this is the cross you see. I'm about to waste a shadow step right here. And it's because I wasn't expecting the DK to get so close to me, but I wanted to cover the DK. So I shadow step right there. I could have just ran over him. That was a bad shadow step on my part. I come back.
Get off me.
And I cheap that.
Anything else?
Maybe half. I got
Sapped it?
It broke.
I sap the poly because my mage couldn't get a re. It's always very good to do if you have the option to do that. Cover your mage. You don't want to be going way out of your way to do it unless it is super necessary. Like it's a game-winning kill. They don't really need your damage. You just need to get CC. I've done that a couple games, many games. But in most cases, you want your mage to be doing the really far away CC and possibly the short CC if he can get it for free. Like they're not going to stop him. But it just makes it a lot easier on everyone if they're really close to, or if they're closer to you, like in this situation, where like I could vanish, or in this situation I had a shadow dance up, and I can just sap off the poly because he's out of combat, so I can sap pretty easy.
Okay, you're in trouble.
I'm
Okay.
horrified.
So I'm going to point out right here, I know I'm doing a lot of pausing and stuff, but trying to show the play-by-play, hopefully it's helping you guys out. The Arsham swaps the Earth Shield right here. That's very big. He doesn't have Trinket either. So this is very big for us. Means we're going to be able to easily go him unless he swaps it back over to himself. But they're being very defensive right now. My mage has orb coming back up in like 5 seconds, at least according to my add-on right here. They don't have kicks for 3 seconds and 7 seconds on the DK. So they're all on DR though. That is a problem. We can't do a setup. We're just doing raw damage at the moment.
Talk to you there.
Okay.
This is what keeps our CC going. We get a lock on the healer. It was very good by my mage. Get a lock on the healer, and then I'm going to blind out of this because he doesn't have a trinket.
Could advantage blind him?
Okay. Next, Kitty, we can go healer. Do you still have bomb or not?
Yeah, go. I'm feared. Going?
Can't get the re. Interrupted. I dropped on him. 2. Feared.
Nice.
Okay, so I want to point out what just happened. I didn't really have anything. I know this is covering it up down here. I'll fix that in later videos. But I didn't have a Shadow Dance during that go. I just had a kidding. I had to trust my partners. They said they had damage. They were ready to go. I knew he had an orb. That's a bunch of damage. Trusted my priest to kind of make up for the damage I did, and I pumped out as much damage as I could without a Shadow Dance. I think I'm not sure if I had my vanish on that. I don't want to waste time rewinding it, but yeah. I don't think I did. Anyway, a better go right there would have been obviously a Shadow Dance go, but the Arsham didn't have a trinket. He didn't have Earth Shield on himself, and they didn't have much appeal. They already used AMZ. Locke didn't have coil. They didn't have kicks. So it was just kind of an easy go for us. In most cases, we'd have to go in for a fear, which we didn't really have for a while, or I'd have to triple cheap or something so that we could pump that damage out without it being interrupted. But that's kind of how that game went. Made some good plays, made some bad plays, could have made some better decisions. So going to go over another example of this. Going to go ahead and play it.
On Blade's Edge, and we have.
I can't stop DK. Can't stop DK. He's like, all right, I'll be able to get it. I'll be able to get it.
So I don't know if the DK healed on the start because I started this a little early. I don't know if he healed on the start, like with a DKs can get in combat because of their lock with the pet bug to get instantly in combat. They can heal the lock with first aid to get in combat, but I don't think he did that. I think he ran in and hit my healer with it. Yeah, there it is, the Chains of Ice right there. That's how he got in combat. So not able to really cover him with his sap. So I go in and I cheap him and I cheap the healer.
He'll fall out of combat in a sec. Oh, never mind.
He actually did fall out of combat for literally half a second. I should have gotten that, but that's a mistake on my part.
Okay. Yeah, just going Shaman. Go Shaman. Go Shaman.
So I cheap him. We get a poly on him, which is good too. I'm not sure if my mage was calling that out. But yeah, so I cheap him. We get a poly. I get a kidney. I should have cheaped both him and the lock, and then gone for the kidney, but I was scared the shaman was going to swap the Earth Shield. I'm pretty sure that's a mistake on my part, but if shaman had swapped the Earth Shield, that would have been bad. So just a decision you have to make on the fly sometimes, whether you think the shaman's going to react fast enough. There's some shamans that react really, really fast, and there's some shamans that are very sluggish. So
try and get this.
Again, first thing I do is I get up my Nightblade. After I get combo points, I use my my Cold Blood and do my normal burst rotation with Cold Blood, Gormaz, Shadow Dance, and I use Blades. Probably shouldn't have popped Blades on this opener. I should probably save for the second one, but just popped it. So the lock peels very well. We both get coiled. Causes my trinket, and then lock calls down Infernal and peels very well, and also roots me. I'm still in melee range, so obviously root didn't affect me too much, but he did his job really well. We did also force Shaman Wall here, so that's good for us. Have to keep that in mind, and Earth Shield is now swapped onto the Shaman, so not going to be able to force really any much here.
You got Wolf. Gotta go lock, gotta go lock, gotta go lock. I'm stunned. I'm blind.
Want to point out for the newer players kind of watching this, trying to get into RMP, you always want to be calling out what target you're going on, because you don't really spread pressure. I know I've gone over this in the past tape, but you always want to call out what target you really want to go on. If you're no voicing, it's harder. You kind of just have to predict. If you're the mage, you have to predict what the rogue's going on. The rogue kind of just like have to hope the mage follows up on what you're doing, because you're doing the setup. They're really following up in this expansion. But yeah, so I call out, going on the lock now. Can't go on the healer anymore. He's on 1/4 DR with Earth Shield.
Healer next show?
So I swap over with the rest of my Shadow Blades.
Cancel. I kick.
Call out the kick. That's good, so they don't know, or they know they don't have to use it.
Okay. I'm feared. Got a blind after fear. Blind to fear.
So we blind right here in order to cause pressure, even though the lock has Earth Shield. Now, the lock has Earth Shield, but it's only 2 stacks. So that's good for us. It's going to come off very fast.
Kick this. Go. Good a sap, I guess?
I vanished sap right there because my excuse me, because my my mage wasn't calling out whether he get a poly or not. I don't know if it didn't come through on Twitch or not, or Discord, whatever we're using. I think he got kicked right here. Yeah, it looked like he was going for it, but got kicked. But he didn't really call out that he was going for it. I probably should have covered the DK, but I didn't. That's a problem on my part. But anyway, I go for the easy vanish sap, and we get it. And we're able to continue causing pressure.
Yeah. Putting ring out for this.
Cover the DK there, because, better late than
We
never.
got AMZ still.
We get a trinket there, and the DK gets frozen by ring, and we also get AMZ, because that's what the DK trinketed to do, because he felt like his lock was in a scary position, and he wanted to save his healer's trinket.
Still whatever.
Two things here. You always want to go up for re-CC on the healers this comp. That's what we did over here. We got a poly out of the sap. Also, you want to watch out for the lock summoning Succubus. I hope I didn't butcher the name. I'm pretty sure it's Succubus. If I was a little bit faster, I would have kicked that seduction, because it starts about right here for the cast and then goes down, and you can kick it. I thought it was going to go on my mage or my healer, but it actually went on me. So I would have kicked it on myself and stopped that. But my healer dispels me here. But always watch out for that to try and peel for your allies, because that can, especially if it's on your healer, because that's an 8-second CC that can really do wonders for the other team and cause a bunch of pressure, especially since they're not even a CC-oriented comp. They more so just try and do as much damage and rot you down, especially as RMP.
I'm seduced.
Call it out so I can get a dispel.
Let's go back.
I agree.
See where I am.
We all call out that we're going to peel back here. We go back to the middle pillar and have second.
Grip me after that, Lance.
I'm horrified, but I should
Okay, this is actually really good for us. They were trying to cause counter pressure there. But this Horrify right here means they're not going to have it for the next go. So the lock's not going to be able to peel at all. Or nearly as much as he could with the Horrify.
Pillar? Okay, I'm around pillar. Maybe get re back here, possibly? I got full re.
Yeah,
We can go healer.
I'm ready.
Going.
So I cover the DK, we kick the lock, and we go on the resto. Again, probably should have covered the Destro, but didn't want the Earthshield to swap, and I guess I was just rushing. Still, probably better to cover the Destro, so keep that in mind. You, as sub, you want to do the best you can. I did have 2 shadow steps here, so it definitely was possible.
Way over here.
We get orb down, I do my normal burst rotation.
Lock trinket.
We force 2 trinkets there. That's very good for us. Against an RMP, you never really want to waste more than 1 trinket per go facing an RMP. So getting 2 trinkets is really good for us. I did use my Belf there as well to force that trinket.
Unfeared. We got
After
trinket,
the
we got
stuns.
trinket.
We also got gate there as well. That's 3 cooldowns.
We got trinket. Just take a go. He health stone. Yeah.
And health stone.
Big damage on me, Lance.
Yeah.
I think I had time to stop that Chaos Bolt. I got frozen on the way there. I could have Shadow Step there. It was probably worth using the Shadow Step there, considering my mage had to block that damage and the DK's bursting. Just something I wasn't aware of. Wanted to point it out to you guys.
Free shooting heals. Got interrupted. I should have came out.
So sometimes as a mage, you want to go for free sheeps. It's very hard, but if you can get it off, it really works for your team out well. It's never really a bad never really a bad thing most of the time, unless you're like low as a mage and you're gonna need to blink to get away. So free sheeping and heals right here, what it would have done is I could have kidneyed the lock and we could have just gone. We would have destroyed this lock. He would have been done, even with the Earth Shield. He's already at 60%. The Earth Shield doesn't even matter at that point. None of them have trinkets. They wouldn't have been able to do anything. I'm pretty sure they already AMC'd. So that's why he was saying he was going to go for a free sheep. That's what we want to do in that situation. But he doesn't get it. He gets kicked. Or stopped in some way.
We can go healer.
Maybe. I got hex.
So I have a dance, and I realize, hey, the healer is almost half health as well, or I guess 70% at this point. So we swap on the healer, and...
Going healer. He's low.
Oh my god.
He's literally dead.
If they don't stop, he dies. Yeah.
He gets annihilated. Yeah, he just gets destroyed. Nothing he can do. This is what I was talking about in my first video, by the way. The DK actually uses his Icebound to try and peel for his healer as a last-ditch effort. So if he had successfully peeled for his healer, the DK at that point becomes a possible kill target. Lock, I don't think really had anything. Probably could have destroyed the lock too if that hadn't gone well, but healer just flops over because he didn't have Earth Shield, he didn't have Trinket, he's not able to get a wall off, and we use Eben and all my damage, and as well as my my disc freeze damage. The lock did try and peel here. My guy should have been in the bomb. That's something they could have done better. They could have been in the bomb or tried to get there. He might have been my priest might have been rooted over here, but mage definitely could have gone in the bomb. But yeah, that's how that game went. Going up against the jungle here. I know I said it's going to be a Destro Arsham video, but thought this was a good game. I lose this game, so I'm going to point out my mistakes, what we did well, what we did bad, analyze it, and tell you guys what we could have done better versus this game, because we definitely could have beat these guys. They're really good players, but we could have beat them. We just we played poorly.
Oh, it's Paradise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't want to go up there. He's got a flare.
So what a lot of hunters will do on this map is they're going to flare right there in the center of the bridge. And I start going up there, and then I realize, because that's exactly where the hunter's going, that's what he's going to do. They'll flare here, or they'll flare here. And I was assuming, because most of the time when I fight Paradise, he comes up over here, but he went up over here this time. So I saw that, and I moved and went around. So watch for those two particular spots anywhere in this kind of area. Not really here, but this kind of area.
I can full kidney healer?
So I kick the healer right here, so he cannot instantly PS this and stop this go, because healers can PS through stuns. That's pain suppression. If you don't know that, it's I believe it's minus 40 or 50% critical. No, it's minus 40 or 50% damage on the target. I also think it stops critical strikes on the target as well. It's a 4-minute cooldown, but it gets reduced down with an artifact trait. Anyway, I kick him so I can't use that during the stun. And then I mark for death, kidney him. And then
Kidney healer?
I use my shadow step after I kidney, and I use my shadow dance after the kidney, and I shadow step Paradise, or the hunter here. I did that because if I just shadow striked, the flare that he's standing on top of instantly knocks me out of my subterfuge, which is the talent he should be running. So I'm not going to be able to stun him. It just doesn't work. It just completely counters that talent. So I have to pop my shadow dance so I can instantly stun him before he jumps away or does something or knocks me or, anyway. So doing my normal damage rotation, we get sack right there. It was just popped up right there. I see the feral right here. When I was watching this video before I started analyzing it, I thought, okay, I'm going to cheap the feral. I don't cheap the feral right here, and I should have. Just for cover for my mage. Or to stop any kind of damage.
He exhilarated? Exhilarated?
Call out the cooldowns. I believe I call out exil and then sack in half a second. Sack is what everyone calls this. It's for a sacrifice. It just reduces all critical strike on that target. It's calls from his pet.
And sacked, by the way?
Big damage on hunter. Dead.
This is a little unlucky. If we had like one more lucky critical strike here, he would have fallen over, but
Turtle.
he doesn't. He lives at 3% with 137k, and my dot doesn't tick him down. Unfortunate. But the good thing, he popped his burst during this. Although it does give the feral the burst as well, I believe. He doesn't get to use his burst because he's in his turtle. So we force turtle during his burst. That's really, really good.
I got trapped.
Unfortunate.
He does trap or healer though, like you
Info
just
kidney
said.
healer in a second?
Right there.
Okay. Actually, gonna kidney this guy bomb? Do you have anything?
Not much.
Okay, never mind. No.
Okay, something important I want to say is I think of the idea because I see he's running his adaptation, or not adaptation, but his relentless. And I asked my mage, do we have burst? Can we go? I'm going to kidney bomb this guy because he's not going to be able to get out of it unless he humans, which I think he already used, but he might have not. I think he used it with his turtle. Anyway, my mage says no, though, so I don't do it. It's very important to always ask your mage if he's not communicating with you because he's doing other things. Can you go? Do you have damage? It's a fundamental thing of RMP. You just got to do if you're in voice. Or at least be watching your mage's cooldowns. I wasn't looking over here at that second, so I just asked. And I don't have his Ebon Bolt tracked over here, so although he just used it. But I ask, he says no. Anyway, just put that out there.
Not gonna do it. It's okay.
Did you already shrink it?
Running at healer to fake the death?
So something priest will do is if you beeline at them as a rogue and you haven't used death, they think you're good at death. So that or death premonition. That's what it's called. This expansion. It's a 12-second cooldown that disc priests have. That if they use it before you CC them with something like a poly, a blind, a sap, it'll come back and hit them and break that. So if I fake it, it either lets me blind really easy without having to worry about that to get his trinket, or it lets my mage go and get a free poly, which is really good if I just stun both the DPS. So he fears me here, though, instead, but it breaks due to the feral dots that are up here. So
He feared me? Got a full kidney healer
I kidney him for CC.
for you now? Got PS?
We get PS right here. We get poly on the healer out of the kidney, which is good. Say it's a little more overlapped than I'd like, but you know, poly's better than no poly. We do get PS here though, so that's really good. I feel like it's not good to throw your orb down after the PS. I'm not sure how much we would have forced. I think it would have been better to go with that. I think we definitely could have killed with that. But just a slight error from a mage's part. So wanted to put that out there for any mages or rogues that see their mages do that.
Gonna sit on you for this?
I'm not.
So here I see the hunter running in for a trap, and I try to sit on my healer, but I get there like a split second too late. It's kind of like if I'm standing on him, it's a 50-50 chance that I'm going to eat the trap or not, but if you eat the trap, it's really, really good for your team and beneficial. So if you're in the area, or you can even just shadow step your healer because you think it's worth it, it's almost always a good idea to do it if you have the resources.
I tried.
I'm in PS here. You're okay.
Someone's calling me and it's quite annoying.
I'm bashed.
Okay.
Can I help you, Travis?
I think I'm fine out here.
So I'm at 50% HP against jungle. You can really flop over as rogue if you don't have feint up, which I don't. I call out I'm fine though, because in this situation I felt like I'm fine. Feral's over here hitting my mage. Hunter's right here targeting my mage. So I'm really good in the situation. Only person targeting me is the priest. Might be a signal that they're about to swap on me, which Feral does start running over at me. But so they might be trying to swap me here in a stun right now. I do have my trinket though and my evasion, so I feel perfectly safe. I'm pretty sure I vanish right here right before the rogue goes on me, and I go for another setup.
I vanished
Or not the rogue, the feral. My bad.
this. I vanished this. Right, I can kidney this guy bomb. You have anything?
I've admin for it.
Okay, let's go.
So we kidney bomb and we get human trinket, which means we did not get it earlier, which is unfortunate. But he saved that, which is very good on his part, and was an amazing go from us. But it did force that, so he won't have it in a future go. But would have been great if we had been able to force that earlier.
Doing as much damage as I can for it.
Full GP.
On top of that, we also get his bubble. So that's minus 25% damage, and I go over to Cheap Healer to follow up CC as he puts that down. This is something bad I do in about half a second, so this is good because it's as he puts that down, so it's just unfortunate that it happens. But after this, I go for a blind, and at this point, it's greedy. We get sack, which I don't think I noticed during the game, or maybe I did a little later. We get sack, we get the bubble, and we get trinket. I just shouldn't have blinded here, but I go for the blind to try and force more or anything else or get them really low. Because it is my Shadow Blades. It is Dance. I don't have another one. But anyway, should not have blinded after this.
I'm gonna blind him out.
What did he just trinket right there? I think he just trinket right there. Decent blind because he trinketed, but still, I don't think it's worth it.
I'm stunned. You're dead.
I can Belf Sheep Healer, okay?
Especially because I saw my mage was over here kiting away. Like, he's just so far across the map. I needed to be able to get CC off of that. That is 100% me. You can't expect your mage to go that far away.
Just put the kidney in the kill target.
Okay.
Just not right now.
I know. Just tell me when.
Okay.
So right here, we might have won just with brute force because we're going to kidney the kill target and just go ham with literally everything except for my cold blood, which is on CD. But
Getting trap. It's not happening. I ring this feral back here.
Okay, let's go.
Right now.
they get knocked across the map like that. Unfortunately, on two opposite sides, this really puts us behind. Feral's just finishing up his burst, but still, yeah, that was just really bad for us. Really great play from the Hunter.
Oh, what the fuck?
Fuck.
Stun healer on that? Stun Feral?
You, Lance.
Got some decent cross EC. It's unfortunate on the circumstances of what just happened before, but decent cross EC right there. Helped us set up for another go right here with an orb. Still decent.
I'm silenced.
I feared.
I knew that would interrupt.
No. You're
Gotta stop out. Maybe?
So Priest right here drops combat for literally half a second after that fear, and I wasn't able to get a sap out of it, which is super unfortunate. It don't think it would have given us the game, but it might have made them go a little more on the back foot.
Couldn't sap out.
I'll go for sheep, buddy.
That right there was a humongous mistake. I think the game ends in a couple seconds, but I 100% should not have stunned that. I have 2.1 seconds left on DR, and I stunned it anyway. Just wasn't good. I had kick up. I just should have kicked that MD.
I shouldn't have stunned that. That was bad.
Trap.
Nice kick. I can't stop fear. Feared.
See, if I had the stun DR right there, I would have seen the priest running in for this fear, and I would have been able to kidney him. And then we would have been able to possibly set up off of that. Would have been a little delayed on the stuns on the Hunter, and the Pharaoh wouldn't have been able to get stunned, but it's better than nothing, and it would have been a decent go. Might have been able to end the game right there, because without almost any pressure, the Hunter's at 64%. They're starting to get on the back foot right here. But
Trinket.
Can't help you, Travis.
we just kind of fall over.
I have evasion. I'm good evasion here. You don't have to worry about me.
We're all
Oh,
trouble, Lance. No.
Oh no.
So unfortunate. Well played on their part, but big takeaway from this game is don't be too greedy with things. If you force a bunch of cooldowns and they're still active at that same moment, don't keep trying to pump in, because if you get sack, you get the priest bubble. I'm sorry, it's slipping my mind the name at the moment. You get the priest bubble. You get you get the trinket out of the priest. Like there's no real reason to blind over that unless the Hunter is just dangerously low. He was at 70-80%. There's no reason to stun DR the priest when he has 2.1 seconds left unless the Hunter is again dangerously low. It was just a couple of bad plays from me. I'm sure my mage and priest could have done better, but those were specifically very, very bad plays from me. So keep those kinds of things in mind when you're doing your rogue mage, rogue whatever gameplay. So, all right, this will be the last part of the series. Sorry it's so long, guys. Just wanted to throw out the videos I thought would be most useful to everyone. I specifically like this video because I think it shows a very interesting use of bomb. And in my opinion, I think it was good. We'll get to it at the very end. This is a shorter game. We get an extremely good opener. It goes very fluidly for us. I'll go ahead and play and narrate and say the good and bad as it goes on.
And maybe swaps on our druid.
This thing, Travis.
So my mage is being pretty cool, making sure that I see that the DH has popped a sight. I have it right here and have it right here. Don't want to get caught up by that. It's your priest job to run in and dot him when he sees him to use sight. You don't want to run all the way in. You should want to run in enough to where you're in range, can dot that off. So both me and the mage can get an opener. My mage isn't an invis right now, but if it was, yeah, it would give us a lot better opener than a no opener.
Yeah.
I got it.
Also, the R druid pops out here, so it's good to keep in mind. Sometimes they'll say stealth. Sometimes they like to come out and just sit bear form to make sure that they're not going to be opened on in cat form by randomly being taken out, which happens more than you think.
Good.
Alright, I can kidney healer.
So I'm in stealth here. DK runs at me. He didn't know it. He was running at me. So sap him to get cross CC.
Sap DK.
Full kidney healer. I wanna express this. It's okay to kidney heal our druids in form. 100% okay. It's better to kidney them out of form, but you should not delay a go just because an R druid is in form. That's going to give the other team massive amounts of more pressure and put your team behind, giving them the ability to force more cooldowns from you, get their cooldowns back, possibly, like, in this situation, like, waste sap on this DK if I'm just waiting for him to randomly come out of form for no reason. It's just not going to happen the higher and higher rating you get. When I happen to queue in to rank ones randomly because they're on their, like, third ult or something, they just, rank 1 Argent will just never come out of form. It's just very rarely. They're so good at using their forms, so just the higher and higher you go up in the ladder, the better and better Argents will get. So it's perfectly okay to kidney an Argent in form, as long as you help your mage as much as you can, because he's only got one school of Frost to get his ring off, obviously. So you got to cross CC as best you can. So kidney this guy in form, sap DK to cross.
Kidney healer, he's in bear form, going in the...
I have subterfuge up here. 1 second left. I step this guy because I don't want him going around the corner. That would be horrible. If he gets around the corner, it's like at least half of the go ruined. So I step him, get a cheap shot off with the last second of my subterfuge.
Okay.
Then I'm going to pop my Shadow Dance, get my Nightblade up, pop my Symbols of Death, and just literally everything. Do my whole rotation. The guy has to instantly trinket 1 cheap shot. That's not 2. That's literally 1 cheap shot. He has to trinket blur immediately.
Trinket?
We still have almost 7 seconds left on the CC, by the way. Keep that in mind. DK still CC'd at the moment, barely, but he's still CC'd. And we've already forced this much. And the go's still going because this guy's so CC'd.
Trying to get there.
Restun, and he dies.
We get AMZ right there. It's good to keep track of the cooldowns. Again, we got Blur. And we also just got the DH's immunity. I see the Ardruid is coming off CC in 2 seconds. And I have 2 seconds of my Shadow Dance still up. So I'm going to sap him to continue the CC chain.
Damn it, the thing.
Sapped it.
That's everything. That's so much, though.
I get banished here. I'm going to trinket the banish and blind him. Blind the Ardruid.
Get blind.
This is going to force the Ardruid to trinket, and luckily my priest is running in. I think I would have gotten something else out, but my priest does a really OG move, runs in, gets the fear on the trinket right here.
Okay.
It was an incredible play by him. The DH is still very, very low, and he gets the DK. Like, they just can't peel at all unless DK trinkets right here.
Fierce trinket.
Oh, kill him.
Rather than running over to the DH, which is now over there, I think you guys can see my cursor, I stay here, and I'm in my Vanish, and I'm going to cheap the Ardruid out of this.
Out of form. Bomb the healer.
I then bomb very last second, just to make sure there's absolutely no chance of him getting any kind of instant heal off on this DH. Might have not been necessary, but kind of interesting way to use bomb rather than trying to step to the DH, which I didn't have. Just bomb the healer because he's still quote unquote LOS because he's inside the bomb and the DH is outside of the bomb. Nothing they could really do there. We had a really good opener. I think the DK probably could have trinketed to peel better, maybe slowed me, use something, maybe use grip on the mage to stop something like the Eben. Hey guys, thanks for watching my video. Really appreciate it. Going to be hopefully putting out more videos in the future. If you liked it, leave a comment below and let me know what I can do in the future. Maybe make the video better. Maybe future ideas for other videos. I'd really appreciate it. I think my next video is going to be purely over melee cleaves. I know this video was kind of scattered and I had a little focus on the Destro Arsham gameplay. But yeah, next video is going to be purely melee cleaves and how to deal with them and how to not deal with them, such like when I die and stuff, and what I would do wrong or what I did do wrong in those situations. So yeah, thanks everyone. Bye.